Right now I'm measuring for a piece of drywall that we're going to attach to this ceiling. I'm going to have a butted seam on this particular run because I don't have drywall long enough to span the whole width here. The traditional way to actually attach drywall to the ceiling would be to put the butted seam right on a ceiling joist. In other words, my measurement would be approximately 105 inches. But that's not what I want to do here. I want to show you a technique where we're going to actually float the butted seam between the framing. So the measurement I'm really looking for here is 113. That measurement takes me approximately centered between this ceiling joist and this ceiling joist. So I'm going to cut a piece of drywall 113 inches. Okay, you can see as I explained, the butted seam is actually floating between the two ceiling joists. So now what I have to do is come up with a way to attach these two panels together, because we really don't want them just floating. They have to be attached to something, but not the framing. So what I'm going to put behind here is something called a ROCKSPLICER. This attaches the two pieces of drywall together, and because of the design of the ROCKSPLICER, it pulls the drywall in slightly. So we no longer have a butted seam that's a little bit of a ridge. But in addition to that, we have kept it off the framing, where when you attach to the framing, it really is susceptible to ridging and cracking. And it is never a recess. So we're really eliminating all the problems associated with butted seam. So to attach to the ROCKSPLICER, I'm taking screws going through the drywall and into the ROCKSPLICER. Every 6 inches or so, keep your screws back from the edge, approximately 5/8 of an inch. You can see now I'm fastening the second panel to the ROCKSPLICER. And as I put the fastener in, I'm actually applying a little pressure up because, like I mentioned, the ROCKSPLICER is pulling the drywall in. So I don't want my screws to actually bust through, so I'm putting a little bit of light pressure up. Or if this was on a wall, I'd be pushing a little bit in. So there you have it. A butted seam that's back blocked with the ROCKSPLICER. A very stable, solid seam that is essentially off the framing, but in addition to that, it's slightly recessed, so it's going to be much easier to conceal. I'm going to show you how it's just slightly recessed by holding my T-square up against the ceiling.